Is in. Hi everybody. Hi, Roman.
Hi, Roman, you can hit the raise hand button and we'll get you on stage here.
Hey there.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We can go ahead and get started. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you're working on.
Yeah, my name is Roman Spanovich. I'm executive producer and CEO in Zabrona Media, which is Ukrainian indie investigative media, and also I'm a head of 2402 Fund to help journalists in need with PPEs and with recovery funds. We started this fund on the first day of Russian invasion in Ukraine. So yeah.
Excellent. Can you give us, paint a picture for us about just the life on the ground as a journalist and just the communication challenges and overall challenges that journalists are facing currently?
Yeah. So the challenges of journalists are different in Ukraine and same in the same time. So like no one was ready for this war, and any journalist, reporter, photographer, cameraman has become a war journalist one way or another. And yeah, this is a huge challenge for many Ukrainian journalists because like I have a background. I have a experience covering the start of the war back in 2015. I've been in many places like Myanmar, Turkey, Syria, many places, in many war zones, but most Ukrainian journalists, like 9%, never seen that, and it all started quite um, um, it was not expected that much, especially when everything was coming to war, and it was like lots of like speeches, like Biden speech and CIA speech. This war is about to happen, and nothing happened. So everyone thought like this is more of politics, not a real thing. And journalists were not preparing themselves. And now when it happened, like everyone needs protection. They need more than protection. They need knowledge. They need um, understanding what is going on, where to go, what to do, and even knowledge how to report, and many questions on ethics, but mostly about the safety, because this is the one of the bloodiest war in Europe. Yeah, and in 2 months we have 26 injured journalists and 16 killed and 2 missing. So this is a lot for 2 months. That's it.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. What so how are you kind of give us an idea of the organizations that you're currently working with, and what that experience has been like. We're priding ourselves on being able to move quickly and to directly fund organizations in need. Have you been kind of raising funds through the traditional channels, through NGOs, through Red Cross, etc., or where have you experienced the most success in that process?
Right. So we we started this fund on the very first day of the war, and we did not really expect what we need money for. We didn't count much. And what do we need? So basically, it was a team of two people, me and Katerina Sergaskova. Who's the editor in chief of Zabrona, which the media we both worked for. We both co-founded. And yes, we thought like the number one thing that people need is helmets and life jackets. And we need money. And the number one source for this was before we got a website, before we got anything, we have created. We were far away from cryptocurrencies and from understanding how cryptocurrencies work. But someone told us just it's very simple. Just you need to create an account in Binance. You'll get like a long name of numbers and digits. This is your wallet. This is how you can raise money. And yeah, so number one thing we shared our crypto wallets and we started to collect cryptocurrencies. We were very far away from that, and that worked. And yeah, and uh, there was a total chaos, and it was not that institutionalized like it is right now, because you don't know, like you live in Kiev, you have kids, you have friends, you have relatives. It's shelling, random shelling. It was a plane and shut down in front of our windows. This was quite a firework at 4 a.m. in the morning. Um, and yeah, it's very hard to focus yourself on the work you do, but you understand that you go outside every morning and do your work as a journalist, and you understand like you have your life jacket on, you have your helmet on, you have your first aid kit, and you know how to use it. And there's so many journalists out there, as you see on the left and right. They don't have anything, and they need that knowledge, and they need that stuff. And we have created a website that's built myself. um, there was my first website. Basically, it's still online. It's gonna be a new website, so much better. It will be available in there too. But the website that is now on was built by me in a day on a website constructor, and we have created a Stripe to collect money, and we made so basically we never made advertisement. We just made tweets. We asked friends, journalist friends, to make tweets about the fund, and this is how we started to raise funds. Through the very traditional way, is just ask a friend or friend to just share the word.
That's amazing that you were able to spin that up so quickly. And yeah, it's an interesting time. Are you seeing people? It was almost like a forced adoption of cryptocurrency and people scrambling to set up wallets. I mean, I think are you seeing use of cryptocurrency even between people? Are you seeing that pick up? Because um, from our lens, we're seeing people quickly adopt it, understand it, and use it because it's opening up a channel of funding for them that they did not expect. Um, it's really interesting to see that. Are you seeing the same thing on your end?
Um, Well, in Ukraine, I see there's getting more and more attention to cryptocurrencies within fundraising communities, but fundraising funds comes from people who live outside Ukraine, because despite Ukraine is a famous nation for IT crowd around the world, and like one of the best, designers, software guys, and developers don't have, cryptocurrency is the moving part of business, and also fundraising or whatever. But that funds, when it comes to fundraising for Ukraine, and looking for friends of Ukraine who are ready to share some hundreds of dollars for the right things, the most of them coming from the West, especially from the US. And we see that cryptocurrencies are so important and famous in the United States. But once the crypto, cryptocurrencies come to Ukraine, and Ukrainians open their wallets, even I would say among the fundraising community, if it happens, people understand how it can be an alternative to present money. And see right now, like journalists, and not only journalists, I see a lot of people fundraising for many things, and I'm in tight connection with people who fundraise for ambulances, for medical workers on the front line, and they buy ambulances in Europe for Bitcoins or for Ethereum, bring that cars, like real cars, into Ukraine, or buy medical equipment, and bring to their front lines, or generators. And I even for me, I was far away from that. Now I see like how it becomes a part of our life. And this war is also like a good part of this war, like Ukrainians come to understand more about cryptocurrencies. This is a good part. There's a lot of bitter parts in this war, but this is a good part.
Amazing. I know that you've had a chance to chat with Ryan's team about helping out in various ways. Also invite you to submit a proposal within the Peace DAO. We essentially like to fund things on a weekly funding cycle. When we're and so I would encourage you to just submit a summarized kind of a profile of your organization and your need for funding within the Peace DAO section. And so you'll find that there's a proposals section. And if you need any help with just formatting or discussing those ideas, we're happy to help. But you can kind of see which projects have been funded over time and the amounts. And like I said, we aim to do this weekly and to get the money that we've raised deployed as quickly as possible. Does anyone have
I
Tyler,
mean,
go ahead.
just want to underline that this is great that you guys doing this, and just it's very very great to understand that this is someone there who helps us with this. So thank you.
Roman, one question. How many female journalists are on the ground at the moment in the front line?
I would say 50-50. Um, um, as I see Ukraine journalism, because in medias that I work, there's more females than males, and it feels like Ukraine journalism is more a place for women than for men. I don't know where is that, and it's just how I see it. But I don't think this is the way for gender inequality or anything like this. But I see a lot of women on front lines, and I would say that the most preferred size that we have by now, like I have digits, I have that infographics, but like M and S are the most demanded sizes for bulletproof vests that we have right now. So I would say the like 50, maybe up to 6% women on front line. It's also very important to understand when you look for right equipment, because so many organizations they buy bulletproof vests that are very heavy. Even for me, I'm like meter and 90, really high guy, white guy, and even for me this is very very heavy to wear. Like if we talk about the tiny lady, where this is too much. This is why we try to get the lightest armor plates for them as possible. And yeah, like someone will say that the war, like in Ukraine, this is very very famous thing to say. The war is not a female thing. I wouldn't say so. I don't know how the things are in the army, but I know there's lots of women in it, especially in territorial defense. But in journalism, especially in frontline coverage, there's many women coverage. Especially, not only reporters, also cameramen and photographers.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Is it possible, please, so the group knows and understands, to guide us through a day? What are the main things that a journalist in the front line needs to cover, and how dangerous is it? I read about Odessa. I read about unfortunately a journalist losing her life in Kiev today due to the bombings. So can you guide us through, so we understand a bit more from your eyes and your experience, one day in the front line for male or female journalists?
Right. So right now there's no more occupied outskirts of Kiev, which is great for the capital to to work like it should be, but still there's lots of uncertainty because the Belarus border is so close, and Russians can start, I don't know, shelling another attempt of occupation of Kiev anytime. But right now it's safe. Ukraine is not Kiev only, and there's more front lines. It's lots of southern regions. It's Mykolaiv region. It's small part of it, but still it's Odessa. It's which is fine, but it has it's very fragile, and it has hostile border with Transnistria and in the Black Sea. Kherson region, which is mostly occupied, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, Luhansk, Donetsk, is Kharkiv. So I would say it's 5, 6 regions are in the direct threat, the Russians in there. And unfortunately, Ukraine did not change the Ukrainian journalism did not change the way of covering, but it's a process because Ukraine has been so much Kiev centric, I would say. Now it happens outside Kiev, and it's like many journalists and newsrooms do not know how to react, and doing lots of mistakes, but they work on it, they understand it. Yeah, so the front line for to the gray zone where you don't understand where ours were not ours. You, of course, you're embedded with some Ukrainian army unit. They're your eyes and ears on what is happening there. Very often you go to places where there's no patrol station in radius of 30 to 60 kilometers. There's no reception. There's no cellular reception. There's no internet. Maybe there's absolutely no GSM at all. And you rely yourself on soldiers and their commanders, and the way you get to them and out is on them. If something happens to them, if you do not know what to do, you're fucked. And it's better you work with them as or it's a siren if you hear. Да. Sorry. And the yeah, so you need to work with them as the one organism, as
Do you
it's
want me to
one.
be somewhere safe now, or it's
No,
okay if you?
it's fine. It's too often you cannot just go to the basement every time it sounds. Yeah, so yeah, and you need to work with them very closely, and this is the moment when like we all thought that the journalists should be very impartial and be far from militaries, but in this war you need to be as close as you can to be safe. And yeah, so the main question is where to get fuel to protect yourself, to know how to work with if something happens to you, to your I don't know, to your partner, to your cameraman, photographer, reporter, or to soldier. And if something happens to him, better help him or her to save their life in order they can save yours, because they know more about what's happening around. And yeah, so this is basically the average if you cover the front line, if you work with locals. And what we have been taught in this war is better have a flak jacket but no huge badge that says press on it, because it makes you a target. And I've heard many radio Russian radio chatters, deceptive chatters, and when they order to hit directly a person with the flak jacket that says press. And yeah,
Thank
so
you. Thank you. Before I go,
I want to open it up to the rest of the group here if there's any other questions. Also, hearing the siren in the background is a little nerve-wracking, and so I want to prioritize your safety if be.
anyways, I will be monitoring the Telegram if it comes here or not. You'll just see because there's many Telegram bots showing how the map changes, where the missiles come from and go to. Very often it's just a siren all around Ukraine, and Ukraine it's the same size of Texas. It means huge land. Yeah, but it just says that the rocket comes this direction doesn't mean it's above us. So it's fine. You know, just in the beginning it was kind of fine, because we had like 1 to 2 sirens, but these days sometimes we have up to 5 sirens per day. So it's and some sirens are like 2-3 hours long. You cannot just sit in the basement for all the time. So just sometimes we neglect it. I know this is bad to ignore it, but at the same time, when you need to work, you need to work.
Understood. Well, thank you for taking this time to speak with our community. You're welcome here anytime. We're having these peace talks on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And so I would welcome you to submit a proposal and to come back and keep us posted on how everything is going, and always let us know how we can help.
Sure, it's also great to be invited to the community. It's very important to be part of it, and yeah, and to have a community to bring the word to. So thank you for inviting. That's great.
Absolutely. Please stay safe and keep in touch with our community, and we'd love to help you in any way we can.
Thank you a lot, and you also stay safe. You know, yep. Thank you.
Thank
If
you
don't
all.
mind, I will leave. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
thank you.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.